Hey, this is the World Advice Channel too. What I want to talk about today is the problem with Jillian Michaels' comments that she has made about slavery. Okay, so for this video, I will explain in a simple and straightforward way why her comments were stupid and make no sense in a clear and unbiased way so you can clearly understand how stupid her comments are and why you should not take it seriously at all, without any, of course, political biases being omitted in my comments, even as a left wing person. So now I mention that, let's get started. So when it comes to answering that question of why Jillian Michaels' comments were stupid, the first thing is that she was saying those comments to defend Trump's plan to change up slavery museums, which in itself Trump, and not even putting a CNN twist on it, because I know CNN has been guilty of just randomly taking things Trump says and make it look like he said something that he did not say, even though we all know, the majority of the world at least knows he's a piece of shit, which just helps fuel his base, proving, oh, he's not like that. I'm not even taking a CNN twist here. I'm talking about a legitimate, objective, factual information right here, okay? And Trump is definitely a racist, okay? He's made comments he's definitely made comments such as, what would happen if Robert E. Lee was still general today, who, of course, was the main general of the Confederacy, who, of course, was a very evil man. And even if he wasn't evil, as some people claim he is, he supported a system that was just pure evil against black people. you know he didn't make those comments when Americans were pulling out of Afghanistan, to the fact that he has a picture of a well-known pro-slavery person in his office, Andrew Jackson, to a few other things he has done that have clearly shown that he is a racist. Okay, he's a racist. Okay, and him being a racist, you know, is something that's been well established. But at the same time, not only has it been established, he feels that he should change things up in the museums and stuff, because he claims that it's woke propaganda, and all that type of crap. Which, in all honesty, it's clear as day that just simply an attempt for him to kind of change history up and change things up in general, for that matter, when it comes to black people, whether it could be their contributions to even just straight up down to what they went through during slavery, to create a narrative that's obviously makes white people more comfortable. That's what Trump is trying to do here. And when Jillian Michaels gets confronted about it, all she can simply say is some bullshit about, well, only 2% of whites actually own slaves, and slavery is something that's been going on for thousands of years throughout the planet's history, which, in all honesty, what does that even have to do with the situation here? We're talking about someone who we know is a racist, who is deliberately feeling that he has a right to go to museums and change up history and stuff like that to suit a narrative. And the most she could just simply try to do is just try to pull off this whole, well, racism. Slavery has been going on in every culture and every group, and only 2% of like white people actually own slaves. Like, what does that mean? What does that even mean? Especially when you look at take in consideration the past. Actually, even though if that was true, 2% of white people own slaves in the American South, most whites did support slavery. Okay, so that argument she makes even then is stupid. You know, is stupid for that matter. Okay, most um white supported slavery. There is actually, and this is historical fact from what I learned, a poll that was done, or I should say a vote that was done in the early 1800s, where 30 million people were eligible to vote for the ending of slavery or something like that, or just something related to giving black people more rights. for that matter, you know, from slavery, and only 30 out of the 30 some million people, I'm not making this up, 30 some, you know, a few dozen at the most, okay, um, were actually voted to give black people more rights, or something, whether it could be ending slavery or just simply giving them more rights. Out of 30 million people who had the right to vote, if anything. What does that show you about how racist America was? So even if you say, oh, 2% did it, that still doesn't change how extremely racist America was at the time, especially when you take into consideration that when the Confederacy seceded, there was more than enough people who were willing to I mean, to conscript so they can join to fight to, well, preserve slavery. So our argument in itself is stupid, let alone the fact that it has nothing to do with the actual situation for a man that is clearly, well, racist. So that's the truth of the matter, especially when you take into consideration the fact that she's a lesbian woman, and you at least imagine her being a lesbian woman, it would at least give her, of course, a little bit more, of a conscience, because she should know how it's like to be treated as someone who is gay, because there has been historically discrimination against gay people and gay women, there is still discrimination against gay women, but nope, she just wants to be another white person who is pro establishment and pro oppression, which kind of just helps disprove the myth that gay people, white gay people specifically, all of them are allies to our movement, which just shows what a piece of shit she is. So her being a lesbian will at least make her at least a bit more conscientious about the suffering of others, but nope, she's just like everyone else. Besides, at the end of the day, I'm not the biggest fan of that movement anyway, the gay movement anyway, and I think this also kind of just shows, you know, this proves the myth that they are allies of us, or the black community or something. But anyway, aside from my personal beliefs, back to the main point, her points she was making is just simply false. It's stupid. It didn't make any sense, and has nothing to do with the fact for a man who clearly is unknown racist. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. If anything, he is a known racist. He has done a lot of things that are suspicious and things that are clearly evidence. Yeah, I'm a racist, you know, and that's the truth of the matter, and that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. So, in short, he is a racist, and Jillian Michaels specifically, because the video is more about her, if anything. Jillian Michaels is stupid. She is dumb. She's a hypocrite. She's gay, yet at the same time, and probably wants gay people to have more rights, yet at the same time, she is for the oppression of other people. And just in general, her statements are just straight up wrong. And that is the truth of the matter in the end of the day. Because the truth of the matter is that slavery was an evil thing that was done. There's no way to get around it. Um, it was simply an evil that was created and perpetuated against black people. And in all honesty, it didn't have to. um, it was just simply something that was just evil. That's all I can really say in the end of the day. And that is the truth of the matter. So, in short, um, Jillian Michaels' comments were wrong, and and her defending the changing of a museum is wrong because it's obviously a propaganda attempt, and that's the truth of the matter. So, if you wanted to know, or I should say, get a good insight on what's a good opinion to form for this situation, for that matter. Hopefully, this has given you a good outlook on it, and that is the truth of the matter. So, anyway, this is my video. This is all I have to say. And just remember, in the end of the day, if you are interested in watching this video and videos like this, Remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And this is all I have to say, and simply put, I'm out. So bye.